we have a special in-studio guest
special.
as I... Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, I got to do this.
A plug?
No, it's Tuesday, April 12th.
God.
Tuesday, April 12th, 2016, episode 113. 113, the number of RBIs for Carl Everett.
Ding.
In his illustrious Texas Rangers.
I feel like
that's a legitimate crazy person, Matt said.
Yes, he doesn't believe dinosaurs existed.
No, he does not believe dinosaurs existed. That voice, those dulcet tones belong to Matt Stepp of theoldcoach.com and on Twitter at Matt_Steppapa817.
Yes.
Tepper.
Do you find yourself getting a lot of email or mail for Matt Stepp with 1P?
I've gotten a few,
Yeah,
I've gotten a little bit.
I imagine.
Yeah. Wearing my IMG colors today, Greg.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
you got in a war.
I didn't even start it. That was the bad part. But, hey, go Ascenders, I guess.
Yeah, you... is that their mascot?
Yeah, whatever.
The Ascenders?
Yeah, they're ascending to do all the good things for all the kids in the country.
Listen, I like unique... as you know, as everyone in this room knows, I am a big fan of unique mascots.
Yes.
Ascenders is just a stupid mascot.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, like what's on the sideline.
Yeah, it's a stupid... okay. Anyway, let's get up. We're here to
Twitter
talk...
was fun last night.
We're here to talk football here in the Lone Star State. We got some headlines to get through. We'll start first with another troubling problem coming out of story coming out of Baylor. Shaun Oakman is under investigation for a sexual assault, which would make the third one in a year. Listen. The bottom line is right now that every time a story comes out of Baylor, it's something like this. And I hate to be the guy who says where there's smoke, there's fire, but
Yeah, at this point.
But now, and the other thing about it, remember Shaun Oakman was a transfer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, from Penn State.
From Penn State, who got in trouble and got kicked off the team at Penn State.
Yeah.
I forgot about
And so then they bring him in. Same with, was it Ukwachu?
Sam Ukwachu, yeah.
Yeah, he was a transfer in from, he got kicked off the team at Boise State for much more severe things than Shaun Oakman. But this is I know that we all, especially in the high school football community, we all admire Art Briles because of what he did. Stephenville and the way that he's been able to turn Baylor into a winner. But there's something stinky going on.
Yeah, and maybe other colleges need to take this as a lesson learned as far as how they handle transfers from other schools and how they go about their business. But you hate to paint entire program with a negative light as far as this, and we don't want to enrage Baylor Twitter or anything, but
they already hate me.
Yeah,
they already hate
well,
Tepper
Baylor
hates
Twitter,
Baylor.
yeah. But it's just one of those things that when a lot of times when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke.
Well, and the other thing is that we all know that sexual assault and sexual crimes on campus are rampant. It is a big problem. The president has come out and talked about it.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking about
I have daughters, and I'm scared to death when they go to college.
What a problem it is,
Yeah.
sexual violence on campuses. So this is not a problem unique to Baylor. That said, it seems to be something that is particularly flourishing in the Baylor football program, or at least the Baylor athletic program, and that's very troubling.
Yeah, and I think the more troubling part for me is every time this happens, I feel like you get a lot of empty platitudes about, we have to be more aware, and we have to raise awareness on campus, and we have to teach these men, and yada, 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 yada. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of action, like with, beyond hoping that the legal system sorts it out for them.
And obviously, look, Shaun Oakman is innocent, still proven guilty, and this is just an investigation. I don't believe he hasn't even been charged.
Yeah, he hasn't even been charged. Yeah, it's allegations at this point.
Allegations,
but it still paints. It's still a negative light. I mean, as much as people will say innocent till proven guilty and those kind of things, which is all very true. The Twitter mob is going to be out there, and they're gonna say those things, and regardless, it's still bad press, and I don't know if Baylor really needs any more of that at this point.
I think you're exactly right. And the other thing is the transfer thing. That this is now, with Sam Ukwachu, he has gone through the legal system. We know that he is guilty, and that was a big time problem for Baylor. if this is another transfer in who has, who Art Briles has decided and looked at and said, all right, we're bringing this guy in, we're giving him another chance, and it turns out that something like this happened, another sexual assault, then questions really need to be raised about the vetting process that's going on at Baylor.
And then unfortunately that could have trickle-down effect with other schools as far as kids who maybe are deserving of a second chance and are good kids. Those kids may lose out on some opportunities because everyone's so scared to pull the trigger on taking these second chance kids.
There's a lot of tentacles to this. So let's get into high school stuff. And one of the big headlines that's come out from the high school ranks in recent days, Shaun Robinson, the big-time prospect quarterback out of Denton Guyer, a TCU commit, I believe, still. I don't know.
Yeah, he's
I don't
still
really.
committed to TCU. He still is. Yeah.
Give it 5 minutes because verbal
never
commitments
know.
are non-binding. I've just stopped. I've that's how jaded I've gotten. I've just stopped paying attention to verbal commitments.
That's the same thing. Offers and every. I always put offers in quotes now on Twitter because what's really an offer these days?
I don't care. I don't care if you verbally committed somewhere. I don't, because until you put pen to paper, it means nothing to me.
Yeah,
that's just where I'm at. But Shaun Robinson is transferring from Denton Guyer to DeSoto. DeSoto, of course, has had a flurry of transfers in recent years, and now both in and out. And now they bring in their quarterback, Shaun Robinson. Apparently, his mom got a job there at DeSoto. I know that Guyer was not particularly enthralled with his performance last year, especially throwing the ball, but I mean, there's no doubt that there's talent there. The kid ran for 1,600 yards, just ran for 1,600 yards.
Yeah, he's a great talent. He's the son of both his parents are coaches. I mean, his mom is, people talk about his dad and how he's a football coach. I mean, his mom is one of the best girls basketball coaches in the area. She's won a couple of state championships. She's did a great job at Guyer. I mean, I don't follow girls basketball that closely, but I know she did a really good job with that program as well. So she's a hot commodity, and it's just easier when both your parents are working at the same school and look at it like you want. I mean, it is within the rules, and it's just one of those things. I think obviously he's going to make DeSoto a lot better because they had a hole at quarterback with the graduation of Tristan Wallace and Jalen Nelson's move to Duncanville last year. They had a hole. They were going to be inexperienced there. So now you plug in one of the country's top dual threat quarterbacks into that offense where they already have Katie Nixon and Chenault and a couple of good running backs. I mean, they've got weapons. Now you throw in a great offensive line with three guys with D1 offers. Now you've got Shaun Robinson. It makes DeSoto a lot better. Same token, I think Guyer will be fine.
Yeah, I mean Guyer. Let's remember they were plugging in Luke Stillwell.
Yeah, and he performed well.
He was just fine. And there were a lot of people that I talked to that thought Stillwell should have been starting in the playoffs. Now, what happened was they basically, for those who don't know, for some reason, some of it's the fact that the receiving core for Guyer wasn't great last year, and part of it is on Robinson. But Robinson was not a great passer last year.
He didn't have a great year. I mean, I think anyone who could objectively look at his junior season would say he was not as good. He had a great sophomore year. Sure. He was unreal. And then he didn't have as good a year as junior year. I personally think he was a little nicked up. I don't know how healthy he was all year. I mean, I think he gutted through some things. Even I think in the San Angelo game, he didn't. Me and Max were at that game in the press box, and I don't think he ever looked 100% in that game. And then, like you said, I think his receiving core was a little young last year. So, combination of things, I think affected that. And Stillwell, he performed well. Yeah. And I think maybe for what Guyer does, he may fit. I think they're going to be a little more deliberate this year. They won't have the big playability with Robinson as well, but I think Stillwell may fit their scheme a little bit better.
But they've got plenty of runners too. That Noah Kane is back. They've got a stable
up front, and they're always good up front.
Yeah. Noah Kane will be there forever.
Yes.
Noah Kane is the Perry Ellis of Texas high school football.
Yes.
He will become the Perry Ellis of Texas high school
He's
football.
going to be All-State in 2027.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think this is an instance. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this is an instance. DeSoto gets better, and especially they get that dynamic quarterback that they always like to have. That system, that playmaking quarterback that they always like to have. And now But I also think Geyer's looking at this and being like, all right, I mean, we got another guy. We're doing okay. We're not. We know
they've got more of the weapons to survive the loss
exactly.
than DeSoto would be if it was the other way around. I think it's really the way to look at it.
It's the classic win-win. I think.
Yeah,
I think it'll work out for everyone.
We're joined by Matt Stepp at theoldcoach.com. Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Stepp817. So, of course, as always, a flurry of coaching changes across the state. You've had your finger on the pulse of it all year long. Which one of them have particularly stood out to you as surprising? I know that there have been a couple. The Navasota, the deal we've talked at length about.
Oh yeah, that was a surprising one. I thought Mark Smith's retirement at Madison caught me a little off guard. I
felt early, right?
It did feel a little early. I think Mark Smith has coaching left in him. It wouldn't surprise me if he got back in after after a year or two. That wouldn't surprise me. I thought Shannon Hall's move from Colleen Shoemaker to Mansfield Summit was interesting. 'Cause Summit on paper is going to be very young this year and a little bit down, and he had a great year at Shoemaker. That one just surprised me a little bit just from the fact that I thought that was more of a maybe he knows something we don't as far as the future goes. But I know at least for this year, I was like, that's curious.
I agree. Shoemaker always felt like for me last year that they were on the precipice of like really breaking through and really becoming one of those real powerhouse Central Texas programs. That one caught me by surprise.
The tricky thing with those Colleen schools, though, is the military base, right?
Yep.
I mean, like at least with another community, you're not at the whims of families moving in and out quite as much as you are at all those Colleen schools, and that's why you see there's sort of a lot of randomness to how good those teams are year to year.
It can be, and I mean, in the one that was most recent, Brownwood really caught me off guard, just because of on paper how loaded they're going to. I mean, they were very young last year, and then Coach Howard's son is going to be a senior next year, and Connor Howard's a great player, so. That one surprised me a little bit, just because you would think his senior year, you don't like to move for your son's senior year for sure, especially when your son's team, on paper, looks like a contender to be at least winning Region 1.
It's popular to say to be in the moment and say, oh, this is such a big year for high school football coaching changes. I think that while there are a couple of really high profile ones, Allen changing, Hewitt Midway, Temple, a few of those. It seems like this is just a pretty average year.
Usually realignment years are always really, really busy, and this one hasn't been as crazy. It was pretty busy in March when February and March, right after realignment, when Allen opened up, Midway, Mansfield. There were several name jobs that opened up, but after that, it's been a little quiet. I'll be interested to see what Snyder does. I have some familiarity with the situation there. One of my friends in James Polk, I grew up with him. He was there. He went to Gainesville, so I know a lot of people in that community, so I'll be interested to see what they do with the search firm and who they bring in. I think they're interviewing. They started interviews yesterday, and they're interviewing guys today. That'll be an interesting job. And you always see that domino effect where a guy gets one job, and then it opens up another job, and then a guy takes that job, and that job gets open. So the high school football coaching carousel it's starting. I think usually around May 1st, it's kind of you may one or two more, but usually around May 1, it's kind of finally slowed down.
I gave Joe Willis a hard time when we had him on because he was literally the last thing we changed in this magazine was his coaching change. Was his move from Cedar Park to College Heritage. But you're right. This is kind of the time when things slow down.
Spring ball's about to crank up.
Yeah, and everybody likes to have the full spring to get through. So I think that's where we're at. And of course, you'll keep us posted on theoldcoach.com.
I try. There's a lot to keep up with, but I try my best to keep up with it. There's a lot of great reporters out there that I rely on if I can't get information. But luckily, the coaches they keep me pretty plugged into that kind of thing.
I'm not used to seeing you without a hat though.
Yeah,
normally you're rocking I fully expected you to come in rocking a Baltimore Orioles hat.
Well, hey, we're 6-0 right now.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Things are looking good. Yeah, I'm in my civilian clothes today. I'm at
civilian clothes.
I'm at work. Yeah, I'm on my lunch break. That's how dedicated I am to the cause.
You see that guy?
It's very much appreciated.
On my lunch
This
break.
is a guy who loves DCTF Live right here.
And I just happened to be 5 minutes away in the Addison office, so I'm gonna come see Max and Tepper.
That's right. How can we
talk
turn
a
you
little
down?
high school football, and there's a Slotsky's not too far from here.
Good,
so
win-win.
So
win-win.
Yeah. Yes.
He is Matt Stepp. Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Stepp with 2 P's 817. Appreciate you hopping on, bud.
Thanks, boys. Enjoy the show. It's always I'm glad Max is back from his from traveling the world, and I get DCTF live once again. It's always a good day on my drive home when I can catch DCTF.
Yeah, but somebody's got to give me the podcast from yesterday so I can.
Don't worry,
put it
I'll
up.
put it up.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Anyway, he's Matt Stepp. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, guys.
There he goes, Matt Stepp, theoldcoach.com, and on Twitter @Matt_Stepp.